Yeah.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 3:31 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting, the Westchester Charter School Board of Directors, to order. Our normal secretary, Holly, is out, so I will be doing the roll call. Cody Hayes.
Aye.
Mark here.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, Mary Mellon.
Here.
Lisa Hopkowski.
Here.
Jason Smith. Here. And I am Ian Whitney. I am here. So because Holly is out, Grace Reeve has offered to act as secretary for this meeting, but that does require board action. So I'll entertain a motion at this time to approve Grace Reeve acting as secretary for the purposes of this meeting.
Lisa Plaskowski, I move to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Mary Mellon, I second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that's gonna unanimously. So thank you, Grace. So then we'll move on to our first action item, it's number 3 on the agenda, and that is the approval of the board meeting agenda. For this meeting, everyone has had a chance to review it, I believe, if there's any questions. Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Jason Smith, I'll move to approve.
Okay, and do we have a second?
Lisa
Okay.
Plaskowski, I'll second.
Okay, and any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will carry unanimously. Okay, that moves us to number 4, and that is the approval of the minutes for the last meeting that was on. Was it November?
Number
Yeah, I guess it was. So,
19.
give everyone just a minute to look over the minutes, and then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Already gave that motion to approve. Here a second.
Jason Smith, I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? No opposition, the motion will pass unanimously. Number 5, are there any persons who wish to address the board? Hello? Okay. Moving on to number 6, are there any written communication to the board?
No.
Okay.
And number 7, Scott Faith, Borchardt Print Faith, will be here to present the audit report. We told him mistakenly, I think, on our mark, we told him 4 o'clock.
Okay,
So he usually gets early, but we can just hold that until he's here.
yeah, so we'll hold this till he arrives, and we'll revisit it when he comes in. So then we'll move on to number 8, and that's the audit report for 2024, 2025.
That's after his.
Oh, we need to do all.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, that's the audit report. I
Yeah.
got it. Warrants in my head. So we'll also hold item 8. So then we'll move on to number 9. That's the warrant report for November 1st, 2025 to January 7th, 2026. So Jody, is there anything interesting in the audit, or sorry, the warrant report? Let us know.
Sure. On page 17, at the bottom three construction, $27,000 plus final invoice for the bathrooms. Right? So that was we know those are completed, but this is the final part of that. Other than that, they're mostly recurring items or things we've seen before.
Okay. Give everyone a minute just to look over it. And whenever we're done, I'll entertain a motion to approve the various questions. Yeah, let's give them a chance to review the warrants, do I hear a motion to approve them, or do we have a?
Jason Smith, I'll move to approve.
Yeah, a second.
Lisa Plaskowski, I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor of approving the warrants, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, then that motion will carry unanimously. So now we're going to move into closed session for discussion of the real estate negotiation for government code section 54956.8. The location is in the agenda. So we'll go ahead and move the closed session at this time. Time is 3:37.
You 1 second and we will.
Hold.
Okay, zero back.
Okay. The time is 4:02 PM. We are now back into open session. During closed session, the board took no action. So I believe that we have our representative from the audit company now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So we'll move back to item number 7, and that is the report on the 2024-2025 audit for Mountain Home School, Glacier School, Denver Charter School.
Scott, you guys are here.
Yeah.
And I'm up.
Yeah, ready for you. Fantastic.
My name is Scott Faith. I'm a partner on the audit, and I'm assuming not very good, Jody. I'm pulling that up right now.
Sure.
What I'm going to do is I'll go through and highlight a few items of the audit report. Just in summary, it's a good audit report. I think you'll kind of gather that as you kind of scan through some of the pages I'm going to highlight. And so, if looking for screening or we'll go to if you have a hard copy in front of you. I do want to thank Jody and Mike, all the other staff up there. We worked up with the oversight. And then also the David County staff for all their help giving us the information. For the job. I really appreciate that. We also sent a letter directly to Mr. Whitney. So I'm sure it's still president.
I did get you on.
Fantastic. And that letter will require to reach directly out to the board on every audit. And the purpose of that is so that if you have issues or want to reach out to us, that's the purpose of it. But it basically states we didn't have any issues with management with that. Okay, let's go to page 1, Jeremy. And there's 3 different types of audit reports you can get, unqualified, qualified, and diverse. And you'll see here in the second paragraph, you have an unqualified thing, which you should get. It basically starts out by saying, in our opinion, the financial statements for the above are pretty unfair. And what that means is that as you go through the report, all the financial schedules, the footnotes, and whatnot have been subject to our sampling customer and our fair use of it. So you can rely upon the activity that's reported there. Let's go over to, and also we've actually sent this report to the CDE. The state, they're going to take a look at it, make sure it complies with their gut review checklist, and we don't see any reason why they wouldn't. Usually takes them, well, nowadays it takes a few months, but hopefully we'll hear back from them soon. Let's go to page 4, Jody. And I'm just going to highlight a few items here. This is the statement of financial position, which is the assets and liabilities and the net assets of the 3 schools. And although we're auditing Western Sierra Charter Schools, the 3 schools have to be reported separately within our report. So you can see the activity ins and outs and whatnot. So you have a Mountain Glacier, Denver, and you have your total on the far right side there. Our total assets were $7.8 million. This is all 3 schools added together. And if you go down the page there, you'll see total liabilities, $1.3 billion, leaving you with net assets. Near the bottom, $6.5 million. All 3 schools combined, and all 3 schools have a pretty healthy reserve going in, to the fiscal year you're in now. I'm going to go to the next page, Jody, which is the statement of activities, and this shows all the revenues that come in and the expenses that went out. The top half of this is your non-restricted type funds, your state aid, your state lottery, those kinds of things. The bottom half is your restricted money, so you get state funds that come in from the arts and grants, special ed, those kinds of things, some small federal dollars that come in. The top part of this, which is your non-donor restricted, you'll see your total revenues were about $9.7 million on the right-hand side there of all 3 schools combined together. Total expenses for all 3 schools were $9.1, leaving operating income of $547,000. So you brought in more than you spent with a non-donor restricted money. And then if you go down towards the bottom, you'll see the donor restrictions. You spent about almost $600,000 of that restricted money that you had, even carrying over from the prior year, leaving you restricted money of about $506. And again, that's going to be your art, music, grants, special ed, those types of things. But overall, with restricted, non-restricted money out of $64,000, we spent more than what came in during the year. They still have a healthy reserve. Let's go to page 11.
I just wanted to point out how I'm doing here, page 11, the long-term debt. Which is footnote B. Just wanted to point out that Endeavor paid off their revolving loan they had, I think it started at 250, 5-year payoff. And now last year was the final year, so it's all paid off. That's good, page 18. Page 18, I just wanted to point out, there were some projects up at Filters that are Glacier and Mountain Home were sharing in the bathroom addition. As of June, and this reported as of June 30th, 25. I think that says full there, and you have to change that. But it shows what was spent through the fiscal year, what was committed, and basically it's funded from current reserves. And I might add, the bathroom was done when we were there in October, I think it was October, November, and very nice bathrooms.
Yes.
They did a good job. Page 26. So not only do we audit balances and the figures, the revenues and the cash and assets and whatnot, but we also look at internal controls. So we look at internal control of the financial reporting, and if you scroll down just a little bit, Jody, you'll see the compliance that we look at as well. So we look at internal controls on how things are processed, how things are reconciled. We look at compliance, how you spend federal dollars and whatnot. And we also have state compliance. So if you go to the next page, which is page 27, and I might have the format of this report follows what the state says. So that's always reported right there. But the state compliance letter then outlines a whole slew of areas that we look at on page 28, 29. And so not only are we looking at the figures, but we also look at all this compliance that we do. And there's an audit guide that we follow, and it kind of spells out a whole slew of areas that we have to audit for compliance. And then let's go over to page 31. And kind of what I was sort of alluding to with all the different areas that we look at. This is probably my favorite part of the audit area. So this is your audit findings. So we audit the federal compliance, the state compliance, attendance, all those areas, internal controls, and if we have issues, we have to issue findings. So as you can see, there were no findings in 2024-25. And I'm happy to report after all the tests that we did, reconciling to make sure that the activity is properly reported within each school. Because you have one general ledger, basically different funds, but one of the things that we test for is make sure things are being allocated in accordance with the allocation policy. So no issues there. There's no issues with attendance. Independent study record, everything on fine. So I'm happy to report no issue there. And so the two reports I just talked about, they didn't mention anything about findings. Here's where the state's looking to see if there were any, and we didn't have any. There's sort of a standard here because we didn't have findings last year either. So on page 32, the state wants to see if there were findings and if there's a corrective action. There were no findings, so there's nothing we need to and that's on 33, like a prior. Yeah, so no prior findings in 24-25 or in 23-24. Any questions on the report? Okay, the last thing I want to mention is the tax return sort of follows this and it builds on these audited numbers. Christina in our office is working on the nonprofit tax return. It's extended, it's due in May. So like she's done in the past, when they come to return, she'll have to bring it to the board has to approve it, and then we'll file that return once it's all approved. But again, it's due in May, so we have some time for that. Any questions?
This is not intended to be a cheeky question, if I may. But I'd like, could you give what's the percentage roughly of all of the folks that you audit that would have no findings?
We have approximately 25 to 30 schools, and I would say probably 20%, maybe 5 or 6 may not have no findings. Because all and attendance is the number one area. Because there's so many, you think of all the data and all the, the P1s and P2s and the monthly attendance summaries and all the data that are accumulating. And one little hiccup, because I think we have to do a finding. 0.01 from, with rounding and all that. So it's just a small difference, but that's probably the number one area we find is attendance. And so, yeah, you guys are up at the top strata. So,
And for
really
the-
good job on that.
And for the board's edification, I think this is at least year 11, as long as we've had Jody here, there's been clean audit reports. That's a good run. It's a-
Everybody does a great job.
We'll have to
Our teachers are, the staff, attendance is the hard deal.
It is.
Yeah, and the teachers they do their file checks, they're constantly on it.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a.
I appreciate that, Jody. It is organization wide.
It is.
But he's a slave driver.
But yeah, everyone's real helpful getting us information. And again, attendance is a big one, especially they've been studying all the changes over the last couple of years.
Yeah, and they've been keeping us on our
Oh,
toes.
yeah, Western Chair's done a great job of sort of spearheading and making sure everything's where it's supposed to be.
And we try to have good communication with you guys. Because when these things come out, we want to make sure that we're doing it the right way. Because some of it's a matter of interpretation, part of the time.
It's not.
What are they asking us to do here? Yeah.
So, and we've had lots of discussions throughout the year, especially the last couple of years, with all different changes. We're independent study, and so we appreciate that. And we're not just here to slap your hand or whatever, we want to be involved throughout the year and help out, so. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very good. It's great. Thank you for all your hard work.
Appreciate it. Yep, so whatever you want to do, you're welcome to stay long. It's going to be great.
You're not allowed to support it. Well, how many, if you guys are improving,
We are improving.
Always.
We're gonna do that right now. Unless there's any questions, we'll move back to action item 8, which is the acceptance of the 2024 to 2025 audit report, which we just heard about. So I'll entertain a motion at this time to approve the report.
Jason Smith, I'll move to accept.
Any second?
Pretty easy. I said,
Any further discussion? Doing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Yeah, the motion will pass. So thank you very much. And again, thank you, Joey, and staff, and everybody for all the work you've been doing. All nice. So I think that's going to do it for all our action items, and we're just moving on to information report from here on out. So number 12 is going to be an information item on the policy regarding immigration and enforcement activity. I believe this is one of the mandated policies. Yeah.
Yes, this is a newly mandated policy. And what we have in front of you now is the generally recommended template from the Young Mini and Core, the attorneys we primarily use. We discovered the need to have this policy recognized in the course of pursuing our material vision from the charter with President Unified as they're looking through and checking our website and looking at all our policies. This was the thing they said, I don't see that. So we got this from our attorneys as a template, and really this has been in the last week. And so I'm per our normal procedure, bringing it to you first meeting to just daylight it, and then it would be go for approval the next meeting. And frankly, I personally need to digest this policy a little bit more. It's immigration policy, but I'm not sure. We need to understand it better and maybe make some modifications. It has to respond to a new law in California, which was in response to federal activity in regards to immigration enforcement at schools. So there's been a lot of churn in this area. And now here's this new recommended policy. We need to have an immigration policy, but anyway, so this is in front of you now as rendered by legal counsel, and we will be working on it the next month and bring it back to you at our next meeting, in the format that we are confident of seeking your approval.
All right, are there any questions about the policy for the time being? Doesn't appear there are any, but as always, we reach out if there's any questions between now and the next meeting. I think so. All right. Number 13, another information item, the first interim overview of budget update, Mr. Jeffers.
And we'll put this on the screen. You have it in your packet as well. It's probably easier to see packet than the screen, but I'm shot. Okay, so this report, this overview sheet is a compilation of the three big reports you have in our packet. It's they're quite large, as you can see in what you got this time. So I think what each one is 40 pages or so. So what I did is condensed it down to a sort of an adjustable amount, and want to get details, you can go into it further. But each one of these, so like Mountain Home School, I'll just go with that one first. The column on the left there says actuals to date. That's showing, that's just through 10/31. All of these report date is due October 31st. So in a given year, they do a first interim on October 31st, a second interim report on January 31st. Mondays in January. Great. Okay. How old I am, and I still don't remember. And there's the final report at the end of the year. So this is the first interim. And so as we know, however the way through the year, we're always in a loss position because we're paid in arrears versus what our expenses are. So that's normal what we're seeing there. Also for if you see the projected year totals, see that our excess efficiency is negative 431. That's because we're expecting to spend $500,000 on a building project this year, and that's using reserves to do that. So we're in a negative position. See the ending balance on the fund balance. Section with that number there, 1,975,000. That's the amount of reserves we have. And in the given year, we are going to spend. Well, we got revenues of 3.2 million, and we have a reserve of about 2 million. So you can see our reserves are quite high compared to our annual revenues and expenses. See the average daily attendance there, 248 was what we were expecting. We're really doing 229 this year. Recall during last year, we thought the 84 may pass. It did not. We crushed it, got rid of it. We got 414 pass, which was a lot better, but it was still bad. And then the governor vetoed it anyway. So we're back at status quo where we were. So we had tried to, we thought we better make a whole case here so we make as much revenue as possible so that when this 30% cut in a revenue happened, we'd have more revenue to that cut, so to speak. And so we did need that, and we modified the amount of ADA we are going to have because we had to go with a staffing to pupil ratio to make it a little more comfortable and a little more sense to a normal operating. So we are 19, almost 20 ADA less than we expected to be. That's why, just giving you an explanation. That happened across the board. And all these are new projections on this of what our new costs and expenses will be. So you're seeing an updated version of it on here for our projecting your balances. And then we have cash flow, which just shows what our, it's a very conservative approach to how much money we'll have at the end of the year. So there's a difference between cash and your actual, and how much you're going through your financial statements. So this is how much cash we have at any given point. At the beginning of the year, we had $2.7 million. At the end of the year, we had $1.5 million. Reality is it'll probably be higher than that, but I jammed every possible expense in there that I can find to make sure it's like an asset test. It's like you would do at home. If you said, how much money will I have? I have to have money, even if bad things happen. And that's what we're doing here. So 1.5 million, even if it doesn't go, there's all of our expenses came came through quicker than we expected. And then the bottom part is called NYP. If you see on the side, it has multi-year projection. If you look in the packets, that's the colorful, pretty one that shows them at the end. So that's all color coded and stuff, and that's the way the state likes to see it. And I too, it's actually. But year two, so in other words, 25, 20, that shows it. I should just look at that. We should say 26, 27, and then 27, 28. Sorry. Anyway, next year we expect to have another $500,000 of our costs. This is going to be about $1 million project next year for that new building addition and others. So it's a half million this year, $500,000 next year. But we're still showing a lot because the other $500,000 of next year, but we still show a fund balance of 1.5 million, which is great. Year three, we don't have those costs of the expenditures relating to the building, so we have excess efficiency. We have a net positive of $100,000 to start doing. So that's how. And Glacier's having a great year. Our ADA is we're having a lot of growth that we had wanted for a while, and then we're already seeing it. And so we're going. Our ADA is going to. It's actually likely to be higher than what we're showing. We're expecting ADA of 95. Looks like it might be higher. We'll see. But we've had waiting lists, and we've just been really good. And so Glacier, who usually, or the school usually works on quite the razor's edge of net income source in the Senate, but we have an excess of funds, so we're growing our fund balance there by $63,000 on revenue of $1.5 million and expenditures of less than $1.5 million. So that's great, and we have a great program. All the three schools do, and it just seems like they're all just doing so well. But Glacier's always been our little baby that we gonna, we gotta keep it happy, keep it going. And this year it just seems like it's finally showing. Because in the old days, the highest they ever got was 120. And that was during COVID. So people all came to Forest. And then it went down to 80 for a while. And 80 was like right at break even. It's like, what's gonna happen? And we had a big reserve, so we weren't overly concerned, but we wanted to have it be happy. And now it's back where it should be. It's because the program has gotten so much better. It's just very icy to people's economy to more schools. So as all three schools are, but that one's been really good. So the cash flow goes from 710 at the beginning of the year to 480 at the end of the year. Like I say, I think that's conservative, so that's plenty of cash. We expect next year to make 90,000, next year to be 106,000. So it's just getting better from what our projections show. So now we'll go to Endeavor. And so you see what's interesting too is Glacier actually has a net positive cash flow through the year. So that's fine. And it's good, but it's just because our growth has been so quick and positive now, it's sort of interesting. And also, Derek County does a good job of giving our money quickly, giving us our money that comes in quickly. President of Five does a project. Then they hold your money for an extra month, then you never get checked. So, tell me why that makes sense. And so it takes a couple of weeks to get it, they process it, they do it at the end of the year, the month they got it, and then they mail you a check. It takes a couple more weeks to get it, like 6 weeks after you would have gotten it. Had it be directly just deposited into our account. So I think what we have to do with that is we deal with President and find out the financial side. So they're showing a net excess over cost of 76,000 for the other thing that was interesting about Endeavor is we expected to have a lot more ability to bring in EA at Endeavor, but through an interesting conversation we've had with the President of Five, they believe that we're capped at 338 people, kids at our location. We never read the MOU that way. They do. We're not pushing them right now on it because we're trying to remember revision. They'll give us 415 rather than 338 anyway. So this year we had to cap ourselves. We had 355 was the idea initially. Again, 8084 is pushing us to go big. And then okay, how about 345? That sounds a little more like what we think that is comfortable. And then no, we got to go to 338. So that's why you see a big difference of 20 from what we thought we're going to get. Interestingly, I think the ADA will be higher than that at the end of the year. I still think we'll get more ADA than that because we have a really high number of our absence rate is really low. But all three. So we started the year at 1.65 million cash. We ended at 1.3 million. Again, I think that'll be higher. The next year, I think we'll make, and this is the other thing you get here. The scenario here is not getting them to revision. It's getting them capped at 338. So this is a different scenario. This is the one that if we don't get them to revision, this is what we did. We stayed here.
Conservative projection.
Yeah, conservative and status quo. Being here at 338. So we have a net positive 15,000 next year and then net positive 40,000 after that. There are things we could do to make that a little better. But at this point, we're still net positive, even with the cap that we're having to absorb at this moment in time. So, all in all, it looks good. So, any questions on this? Did I appear? Thank you very much. Answer that question. So we move to number 14, another information item is the mid-year LCAP with budget update. Right.
Over here. There we go. Daisies. Right. So this is our LCAP mid-year report. So kind of move forward. As a reminder, this is regarding our LCAP, which is our local control and accountability plan, which ties our goals and actions to our budgetary. And this is supposed to be a way to track various indicators and show progress towards meeting the goals that we as an organization have decided upon. So we're currently in year 2 of the 3-year cycle. So this cycle started in fall 2024. And then today we're going to look at the mid-year report for the 25-26 school year. So some data like dashboard data has been released. So that includes things like our assessment scores. And then there's a lot of data that comes in the spring as well. And we do our survey. So some of it will be here, some of it not. So looking at goal 1, which our goals don't change much, but sometimes our actions change year to year a little bit. So goal 1 is all students will be provided high quality guidance and instruction within a broad and rigorous curriculum, necessary educational technology supports, and professional staff. And will prepare them for success in college and the workplace. So there's 6 metrics there listed that these are completed measurable data that are used goal 1. And just to give you, so some of the things that are on there, and I'm sorry, I should have started by saying you have the mid-year reports in your packet for all. And so they're broken down by goal and then by action, and then all the metrics. Right. So for goal 1, you'll see things like credentialed teachers, in-field, out-of-field, access to aligned curriculum, various programs and services for our EL learners, our state test scores, as well as our local benchmarks and NWH scores, college and career readiness indicators, and then services for our uneducated students with exceptional needs. And so just to give you kind of briefly where we're at currently this year, and you'll see a variety of numbers up there, which can be a little confusing, but that has to do with, Endeavor's TK through 12 versus Mountain Home being TK through 8, and then Glacier is the high school program. So there's different numbers of metrics, and sometimes that varies a little bit because President Unified wants to see certain data a certain way, like for our unduplicated people separately from the general population, whereas Madera County is fine with them being put together.
Hey, Grace, this may not be necessary, but would you just remind the board what unduplicated means? What students?
Yeah,
are
so
we
these are
talking
some of
about?
our special population students. So these are going to be our EL students. These are going to be our SPED students, foster youth, homeless youth. I feel like I'm forgetting one, but
Free and reduced.
yes, and so then our socioeconomically disadvantaged as well.
The reason they're called unduplicated is because they don't want to double count them in any category. So if you're having one, you're not supposed to count them in another, so someone could have all three of those. So there are only one. You don't count three, you count one in that. So that's why it's called unduplicated. It's not.
So currently, based on the available metrics, Mountain Home for goal 1 is meeting 8 out of 8 of those metrics. Glacier is meeting 8 out of 10. And that, for that specific one, has to do with certain subgroups not quite meeting the testing goals yet. And then the same for Endeavor, 16 out of 19. Some of the subgroups have not met those test goals yet. And then our CTE also, we're having a little bit of trouble the way it's being reported, but not fully represented on the dashboard. But we actually, if our numbers were reflected correctly, we would be beating them. So for goal 2 is all students will be provided a safe, clean, secure, and healthy school with opportunity for student engagement within a positive school climate. So there's again some measures that are already reported. So some of this has to do with attendance rates, chronic absenteeism, suspensions, expulsions, those kind of data. And then some of them will come out later in the year. And so currently, so of the measurable, applicable metrics, Mountain Home is meeting 4 out of 4. Glacier is meeting 3 out of 3, and Endeavor is meeting 3 out of 4. And that's because we had, our goal is blue, which is the highest level on the dashboard. And this year Endeavor's in green because we had some chronically absent students. Very small percentage, I think it was 2% last year. So green is still really high, but that's the difference. So you do have a increase in those, they level you down into a different category. And then goal 3, school will provide opportunities for our educational partners, parents, students, staff, community members, and organizations to participate in various aspects of the educational environment to support and enhance student success. So again, a lot of these ones are going to be reported based on our survey. So there's not going to be all of the metrics available yet. But we also do look at communication as measured based on who our parents, where communications are reaching, the inclusion of our low income, our EL, our special ed, all those, again, categories of implicated students, and engaging them in school decision making. A lot of that happens through our LCAP discussions and focus groups. And then the inclusion of the parents of all of those same categories. And again, the data is mostly not available yet because a lot of it is based on our survey that comes out in March. But what is available, all 3 schools are meeting 3 out of 3 of the applicable metrics that are here. So in summary, Western Sierra Charter Schools is actively addressing all identified actions and implementation steps. And based on our current progress and monitoring, we're predicting that we're going to meet all of our goals and have outcomes for all of the schools in this current LCAP. Any questions?
Grace, this was a lot of work. Keeping this in front of us and communicating it and gathering data and including it. you leading the team to work on these things and stay focused on these things. And so I just want to thank you for taking the lead on that and doing such a great job. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's great work as always.
Thank you.
All right. If there aren't any questions, we'll move on to number 15, and that is the executive summary of the constituency survey findings.
So you should all have in your packet, a couple things. You should have a stapled stack with colorful graphs, which is a tabulation of responses to the executive director transition survey. You should also have something that is just the questions as asked, which is kind of meant to be a key, because sometimes the questions on this synopsis form the language got cut off from the text box. And so just so you can see what the actual questions are, you have that to key that to. And then I handed out to you separately on your arrival a overview of what some initial, at least some high level view of what the we found in the survey. And so we had 89 parent responses. This was out for response time for about 2 weeks. We had 12 student responses and 42 staff responses. And so that's very good. We wish for higher percentage of responses in all of those categories. We have approximately 70 staff, so we got a little better than half of staff responses. But we have 700 plus students, and we only got 12 responses from students. So that was, just keep that in mind, and that just lets us know for future surveying, we need to really think through how better to make it into encouraging students to participate and respond. And then it would have been great. But a good 89 is great, but I don't know what that percentage is of our families, but it would have been great to even get more. But that's what we have for responses here. And we're grateful for the input. I think the input was very helpful. And so I just am bringing before you a number of the questions. There were 14 questions on the survey. And I would encourage you at your leisure and interest to just sort of review through yourself what's actually in the tabulation of the survey. But some overview. Question number 3 asks for what the perception is of overall health and direction of the organization. There were 4 possible answers. So basically the first 2 answers are strongly positive, and next 2 answers are more on the side of there needs to be change or, stronger favor change. So 96% of the parents either checked very strong or stable and strong, and overall health of the organization. 80% of the students and 88% of the staff. So that's in general, high level, pretty encouraging feedback. Question 5 was, how well do you believe the organization is living out its mission and values? 88% of the parents said extremely well or very well. 83% of the students said extremely well or very well, and same with the staff. So again, pretty strong response there in regards to mission and values. Question 8 is what do they perceive as the top priority for the next executive director? And this the following questions after this, there were 6 or 7, 8 options that they could put in, and they were told that they could check up to 3. And so I give you, so each one has multiple answers where there was the strongest gathering of answers. So top priority for next executive director, the parents said, 70% of the parents said supporting and retaining great teachers. And that's a great answer. We're a school after all. And so appreciate that. And we agree. And 53% said expanding extracurricular opportunities. Students were 50-50 split, and their strongest answers, supporting and retaining great teachers and expanding extracurricular opportunities. And then staff, it's very interesting because staff are on the inside of the battle, right? And so their answer was a little bit different. Real strong, 71% supporting and retaining great teachers. And then 62%, the next strongest answer, was ensuring financial and organizational stability. And that does definitely reflect those on the inside versus those who are recipients of what the services are. Question 11, what leadership qualities are most important to them for the next executive director? From a selection of roughly 8 different options. The 3 strongest answers for the parents were 69% said support of staff growth and morale. So that's really good. Take care of your staff. 63% said next executive director to have a deep understanding of our missions and values. And absolutely appreciate that answer. 58% said someone who is a strong communicator and listener. And yes, that's good. Students said 83% of the students said strong communicator and listener. That's cool. We want somebody that, that's out there and we can follow. 42% said deep understanding of our mission and values. That's neat to hear the students say that. 42% said support of staff growth and morale. Love that too. And 42% said instructional leader focused on student learning. So priorities for the next executive director. And then question 13, what do you most hope to see in the next executive director's approach to leadership? Parents said 52% said implementation of our values-based culture. 42% promoting academic excellence. So again, a strong number of, a significant number of folks really saying, hey, we need to continue to keep who we are in mind and in view and protecting that. And of course, promoting academic excellence. Very good. Students said 68% of the students said strengthening unity and communication. So that is an interesting, one, and that's great. I think that's a neat priority to know. That's we think we do well at that, and I don't know how we can tell from this answer how well we do at that, but that is a priority for our students. And 42% of the students said encouraging innovation and growth. Staff said 57% priority for the next executive director, strengthening unity and communication. And 50% said implementation of our values-based culture. So just a overview of some of these questions for us as a board to think about. And I do think as a board, it would be, again, just encourage you to review through this yourself, because I think there is, on one hand, a lot of encouragement in it in regards to the path we're on, but I think also can be gleaned out of it good insight in regards to who we're serving as we look forward to what we want to be about. And particularly question 14 was a free response. So when you look in your packet, it's ordered by the responses to question 1 through 14 first with the parents. Then you'll get back to the students. And so then it's students' response to that. And then in the last part of the packet, it's questions 1 through 14 for staff. So that's how that's organized. When you get to question 14, that was a free response. And so not easy to tabulate and summarize for you, but there was a lot of good information. And so I would just, again, encourage us here, our administration team, and all staff really to be looking at the whole thing. But it's very interesting as far as the interest of our folks expressed in question 14 of what they're hoping for. What they hope does not change in regards to how the organization is led. So, yeah, pretty neat. I think good data, something that we may want to consider, doing just something. We do surveys already for the LCAP and other things, but this I find helpful. Might be something we want to think about every couple of years. But any questions on that?
We want to have a chance to look over it. All right. Then move on to number 16, and that's the update on the executive director succession plan. Thanks.
Yeah, maybe I can do this in tandem with you, Jason. So you as a board elected for Jason to take the lead on the interview panel. And we now have, we have a completed interview panel that represents the various constituencies that our school has, students, parents, staff. And Jason is the lead for that. And he is actively, by email at this time, communicating, keeping the interview panel updated. And we're together working on putting our questions together for the interview for the candidates. That interview is going to take place next Friday on January 23rd. We had 4 applicants, and that is I'm really encouraged by that. And that is a very manageable number to interview 4 people. It was nice we didn't have to paper screen anybody out. So 4 applicants. We are planning, and Jason's already communicated this out to the applicants and to the panel, that they're all going to be interviewed. And so we're excited about that. And Polly is also working along with Jason. She's going to be creating the schedule for the interview day. And as well as we're together creating the questions that we'll be asking. We anticipate, just for your knowledge, the interviews to be about an hour and 15 minutes each. And the idea is that's, giving us roughly an hour to interact with the candidates in regards to questions and response, and sort of not having too much pressure time for them to be able to respond thoroughly. And then also the additional 15 minutes, an hour and 15 interview time, we've asked the candidates to prepare some sort of 15-minute presentation where they're basically making the case for what their vision would be and why they think they're a strong choice. And yeah, so that's how that'll work. And you want to?
I think you pretty much covered everything. The only thing that I would add is the interview panel. I think we covered it last time on who was going to be on that, but I think it's a range of people that are going to go from 2 board members, staff members, and 7 people in total. And I've been communicating with everyone. Whenever I get more information, I pass that on to them. And yeah, we're set to go on January 23rd.
All right. And from the deliberation and the results of the interviews, and the panel will come to a determination of their top choice. And then when we meet again at our next edition, you may recall we scheduled in an additional meeting February 10th for a special board meeting. It'll end up having probably a couple other items additional to that, since we're meeting them and be timely. But the interview, Jason will be bringing the interview team's recommendation, and then that will be brought to you as a board. Take action on that person, and then after that, after the board comes to conclusion on that and approval of a candidate, then we will be going to whoever that candidate is to make an offer.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful for your hard work and hope that it sounds like we're on schedule.
Amazing.
It is.
Amazing.
All right. Well, unless there's any questions, we'll look forward to hearing more at the next meeting. We'll go into our reports to that number 17, and we're going to start with the Cox, the executive officer.
So as you heard, let's say in open session, I think it was mentioned in closed session, but we just received word yesterday from Fresno Unified staff in regards to Endeavor's material revision, that Fresno Unified staff was making the recommendation to the board to approve our material revision. So that's great. The board's the board, and they make the decisions according to whatever they desire to do. But it's great to have staff make that recommendation. So we're very grateful for that. So I think we're on track. I think we're in a strong position. That next meeting will take place on January 28th, Wednesday, January 28th. at Fresno Unified District Office. And it will be another public hearing. And we don't know if the board's going to have questions for us as staff, but we're told to be ready for that, and then for them to move to action, hopefully for approval. And I would ask if you were able, it would be wonderful if you as board members could come and be there for that night. That would be really encouraging. And if you do that, I would also encourage you to wear the shirts that you were just given. That wasn't meant to make sure you got there because you get a t-shirt, but if you do, it's nice that it'll just make it visible who you are there in the audience. But yeah, so is there any questions on the material revision and progress with that? And then secondly, this Oakhurst building projects, as you've already heard, we've completed the restroom project, which is great. And everybody's really happy about that. And we are now moving on with our building addition, which will be adding roughly 2,000 plus square feet to the main building. It will add something like 6 offices, a large conference room, and a classroom, large classroom. And all of that is very needed. And plans have been drawn up. Our architects, I've approved those plans. Those plans have now, as of a week ago, were sent to Madera County Planning for their review. And I don't know how long they take. But there'll be some interaction because they may have things they want this changed or adjusted or answered. But you know, I think it's safe to say we hope to have those plans out of county with approval within the next couple months. And after that, we will be then putting the project out to bid. As Jody said, it's somewhere roughly $1 million project. So that'll be going out to bid, and the architects, the firm, will be helping us with that whole bidding process. And Jody will be taking the lead on that on our side. And then once we get a contractor picked, then it's just, you know, getting as soon on their schedule to get started. So we're hopeful to get started, as you saw in Jody's budget, this school year. So before July 1, we're anticipating being able to actually get started with the project with completion in the next school fiscal year. Jody, is there anything else on that?
No, it's been our hope was to get it done. Be there already, but as we know, it just takes a while to get something done. But we may not get 500,000 benefits, but better be conservative than playful.
All right. Hopefully that continues to go smoothly. For the more updates on that. Okay, unless there's anything else from you, we'll move on to the Oakhurst staff liaison report.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. I don't have a presentation, so I'll just run through some things here. So this is our second week back at school. Last week, teachers were coming back and getting things in order. Mountain Homeschool math classes started last week. And then this week, Glacier High and Mountain Home enrichment classes started. So for today was the first day of Mountain Home enrichment classes. So it was a very active and busy day. The building was, very full of children and activity. So this time of year, January, February, the teachers are doing mid-year testing. So if you had a student who tested well below grade level on the NWEA and you're kind of keeping an eye on them. So many of those students, you are doing a mid-year test just to evaluate their progress. And, sometimes kids just have a bad day with testing. And then, so it's a follow-up, but, you're doing other assessments too, just to see if that was more than just a bad day. So, the tests, the NWEA is about 45 questions, multiple choice. So some kids just had a very lucky day, and and then so the thing is that it's the trend. When you get a graph on the NWEA and the trend, it shows how they're doing, and so it's pretty accurate. Um, so that's happening right now. And then some things that are coming up, our ski school is going to start on January 26th. That's a Monday. We hope to have 5 days of instruction. Their Badger Pass is opening, and but right now it's just really warm. So I don't know how many Mondays, if the weather doesn't change, we'll get in, but we'll get at least one or two in. And so hopefully it was like 70 degrees up in Oakhurst today. So hopefully that will change. And then some other things that are happening, like in February, we're going to be doing our third annual jump rope competition. And and this year we're adding Glacier. So Glacier students can join the competition. It's by grade level, and basically how many skips can you do in 60 seconds. And Mr. DeCarly has brought that here, and it's been a lot of fun. So kids get medals, and they can improve upon their time, especially, and with the little ones, you're introducing them to jump rope, and many of them become addicted, and they get their own jump rope. And so that's you know, good, clean fun here at Mountain Home School and Glacier. Um, and then the one other couple, well, in the end of February, fourth graders are going to be going to Millerton Lake to go on a bald eagle tour. So they take students and chaperones out on a pontoon boat, and a ranger introduces them to the habitat and bald, and they will often see bald eagles because they generally will stay in the area once they pair up and mate. So other exciting things happening. Glacier on February 7th will be having their academic decathlon competition day, and Glacier has really been very successful with the academic decathlon in the past. Um, then finally, Mr. Hagan is going to show you some pictures of activities in the last few months. One thing I want to highlight is the Christmas tree decoration, because I was there, and that is something that happens in the center of Oakhurst. And every elementary school has a Christmas tree that they come and decorate. And Rachel Proto, our advising teacher, was in charge of that. She's in charge of that. So we have music and punch and or hot chocolate and cookies. And it's very festive. And the crafts are all right there. It's outside. It's like like I said, in the middle of town. There's a community Christmas tree. And then, so it was very festive and fun. And so you'll see in Mr. Hagan's picture the result of that Christmas tree decoration back in December. And with that, if you have any questions, but thank you for giving me a chance to talk to you today.
Thank you. Thank you. Right now, the principal report.
How are you guys doing? Back in here. Let's start at the beginning. So I am just going to highlight. Mr. Sloss did a great job of highlighting some of the things that have happened recently. There's an all-staff professional development that we did with Endeavor here, down actually at the potential new site for Endeavor, the expansion area. And I will share with you this document. I'd love to be able to show you. Melissa Culver put together like a little slideshow of like some of the fun that we had on that day. But I thought it was a really good opportunity for our staff to kind of come together and to get to know each other, and also just kind of look at what I think Mike did a great job of kind of what is the
the focus and passion of like what we're doing and what we hope kids to get. And I think it was kind of a good way of refocusing us and also kind of collaborating. We were pretty strategic, trying to mix the groups. So I thought that was good. I don't know, Mike, if you want to say anything more on that.
No, I think it was very, yeah, I think it was a very encouraging day for people just to think about what is good learning and how do we engage that? And it's often not by so much of the stuff that we spend so much time dealing with, like metric oriented and structured sort of clinical practice. Learning is what we are naturally learn, and tapping in, remembering that as educators and remembering that about our students, and kind of just focusing on the love of learning and inspiring, just allowing that to be inspired by the people, the young folks that we're serving.
Yes.
It was a good day.
And Mr. DeCarly organized some fun games for us to do together. And that was very entertaining to do. I think most of this John, Mr. Sloss covered, and then I have some pictures though. The only thing that Mr. Sloss didn't mention is we did a trip to the Shrek Junior musical. John, I don't know if you want to say anything on that. That was a great event also.
We took about 85 students and parents to see the Children's Musical Theater Works downtown Fresno. Last year we saw Annie. This year we saw Shrek, and they have a performance that's just for schools. And so it's very affordable. It's only $8 a ticket, and it's in the Memorial Theater. They're in downtown Fresno by the water tower, and they do a wonderful job. And so parents they were like, wow. And then next year will be Music Man. So it gives a lot of kids a kind of an introduction to live theater.
Yeah, I had a parent talk to me in the local supermarket, just so excited about going and how much fun that her boys enjoy. I mean, obviously Shrek has some funny humor there for especially boy related humor, but they have a great time. Thank you, Mr. Sloss, for
Everyone was warned. Everyone was warned. So yeah.
Here's some of the Christmas tree decorating that we do every year. It's kind of a fun event, and then they have a Christmas tree lighting here in the kind of the center of town. There's Mr. Sloss with some of the students there. Other thing we had was a Battle of the Books competition, and it's expanding every year. And so we had a fourth, fifth, a fifth, sixth, and a seventh, eighth. We had 3 different teams that Mrs. Davis put together. Each group of kids had to like collectively read 20 books approximately and be familiar with all kinds of the ins and outs. And they do all kinds of I went this year because I'm like, how do you have a battle of the books? I'm picturing them throwing books or something. But they do like different things where like the team runs down and they get, asked questions, and then they can run back to their team and collaborate and then run back. And then there's another one where it's like a Jeopardy kind of buzzer thing where they have to answer questions, and it's like all these buttons are all synced and they're all trying to, answer questions. And then they had another one that is where they have to go around as a team and answer various questions about the books. I was amazed at how into it all the kids were, how much fun they had with this event. Here's the buzzer and the kids running around and trying to do this. The variety of teams, they get to come up with team names. In fact, we had 27 students participate. Our 7th and 8th grade team, the Page Turners, placed 3rd in the story sprint. That's the one where they're running around back and forth. And they won the best name, the team name award. So their team name was the Page Turners. So congratulations to them, and a big thank you to Mrs. Davis. Also, there was a number of other staff that were there supporting, because she had 3 different teams. You can be at 3 different locations at the same time. But it was a fun event. Kids Gift Workshop, always a favorite. Kids get to make different gifts. And I believe Endeavor also does this here. And Mr. and Mrs. Carly kind of take the lead on that. And it's always just a fun event where kids get to come and make a gift, two gifts for parents or family. And so they had these like posters that they made, and then they just like a family tree where they made like their thumbprints, and they got to represent their family, however they see that. And we also had high school leadership students, and I think this is the first year we organized that, but they came in and they also helped the students participate. Staff get really into it, dressing up, and sometimes even the kids dress up, there's Mr. Sloas as Santa and some of our other staff. Then we also do a great Glacier Christmas party, kind of a tradition for Glacier every year. A lot of the students dress up, and we do food, and we feed them, and then they do karaoke. And then they also do a gingerbread house. And they also, once again, kind of mix it up. The leadership students help put that on. And the leadership students kind of spread themselves out to all the different tables. They have to come up with kind of a theme and a story. And they basically kind of sell their gingerbread. There's judges that kind of do that. But it's just a fun event. And then they do a gift exchange where they... it's like, I can't remember what they call it, but it's like a thing where they roll a dice and they have to move left, or they have to pass the present right, left or right, and across. And it's a fun event. Rebecca Brokaw, who is new to Glacier this year and not new to education, she's the new leadership teacher. And so, she's trying to okay, what do you guys do? And learning all the things. But it's such a great job of organizing it. And, even ended on time. There's some students doing the karaoke. Fun event. So a big thank you to all the staff, and particularly for Mrs. Brokaw for all her hard work and the leadership students. Our RV students are hard at work. We have, I don't even know how many teams we have, but we have junior high and high school teams. And this year we also will have there's different levels. So there's Scout, Navigator, and Ranger. And we have a very motivated high school Ranger team who is committed to trying to win at the regional level and go on to the international competition. So much so that they're raising money for their plane tickets to go to Canada. But they're working hard. I believe this is the high school team. They 3D printed all these parts and working on getting that going and doing some initial testing. I'm going to give you a copy of the sheet. It's kind of hard to see, but there's some things that are highlighted in yellow. These are some upcoming events. And what I thought is just, I highlighted events that I thought if you as a board member might want to come, you don't have to, but these would be like, if you're interested in coming to any of these events, feel free to contact me if you need more information. I know some of you are in the Oak Ridge area that have been in for Fresno or like, hey, that sounds interesting. I'd like to come. Let me know, and I'd be happy to send you more information on that. So some of the upcoming events, we have a lot happening here in the next couple of months. In fact, there's 2 pages. You'll see. Kind of to highlight poetry out loud. We're bringing that back. Our new teacher, Mr. Samuelson, is organizing that. That's a competition where they recite poetry and they compete both first at the school and then they go on to the county, and for the county, potentially the state. I also highlighted our staff meeting. Not that I expect you to be at the staff meetings, but we do a lunch together. If you want to just kind of get to know some of the other staff, you're welcome to do that. We're having a school choice week. Endeavor, I think, has done this a little bit more than us in the years past, made it a bigger deal. We're doing school choice week. And on the 30th, we're going to try a junior high social. We'll have kind of games and fun and a little bit of dancing, structured dancing. We're going to do that on the 30th. We're hoping for a good turnout. We have the decathlon team will be competing in Madera South. If you ever want to come and kind of see what that's about, the super quiz is at 1 o'clock, followed by the award ceremony. That's a fun event to go see.
If I can interrupt, just as a reminder, Glacier High School has been the county decathlon winner for the last 3 years in a row, which you go from there, you go on to state. And so I think 3 years qualifies to be called a dynasty. And so I don't want to be too proud or boastful, but that's pretty great because we're the smallest school competing against all the other high schools in Madera County, and 3 years winner. So that's an important one for us.
Thank you, Mr. Cox. Now, Mrs. Kelly did say she has a newer, younger team. And so she's like, I'm not sure. She's like, she wants this team to win probably the most out of any of her teams because they've been working so hard. But they are younger, and so there's some things they just haven't been exposed to as much. Like a lot of times, by the time they're seniors, they've had economics, and one of the subjects is economics, and some of the level like chemistry is a big part of it, and so some of them just haven't had those subjects, so they're trying to learn those things. But it's a great team. She's very excited about that. Mr. Slutz already mentioned the jump rope contest. This is kind of new. Hot off the press, and that I haven't really talked to Mr. Cox about it, but every year we do an 8th grade welcome to Glacier. And so during that school choice week, we're going to do that. We're going to welcome 8th graders in, kind of talk about our program and let parents know what that's going on. I highlighted the LCAP focus group. Once again, that's open up to parents and students and families. But if you'd like to be a part of just hearing what families are saying, that might be a great thing to consider being a part of that. I don't know if there's any rules regarding that, Mr. Cox, if there's too many board members, but I just thought it makes sense for them. It's a Zoom meeting.
Sure, well, it would be great sort of coordinating that, but seems good to me.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a talent show on March 3rd at the 70 Theater. Students and staff get to do lots of things there. Our Glacier leadership class also did the presentation night. It all started at 6:30 in Oakhurst. And then our academic pentathlon, which is our junior hires, will compete at Madera, at the Ranchos Middle School. We do have a spelling bee coming up, and the second Peach Blossom is another thing coming up. There's a lot of events coming up before our next official staff or board meeting. So I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on all the things that are coming up. If you have any questions, whether you ask me now or you contact me, let me know. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Davis to Fresno.
Oops, close my mess things up.
There we go. Thinking. Slowly getting there. Okay. So we ended one of our highlights from the end of the semester was our end of semester taco lunch and staff reindeer games. So this was the kind of bottom right one is our taco lunch. We had really amazing tacos. And then this top left one was similar to a game that Eric was talking about with the past the present, but staff members were invited to bring a random object from their office. And then a story about the night before Christmas was told, and we passed objects left or right. And I ended up with some used blinds from the other office area. So that's what I'm. We also, part of our staff reindeer games was our gingerbread house creation. And so there's some really fun ones going on there. If you want a closer look at Nancy's of Mr. Hagan. In her
every year she has a picture of me. So
was really nice for Mr. Hagan to pose for.
There's a new staff member. She's like, I was wondering who that person was because she hadn't met me yet.
Yeah. He keeps showing up in all of them. We had bagels and coffee donated during our last staff meeting. So big shout out to Uncle Harry's across the street that gave us all bagels, and to the Starbucks right across the street as well, and to Mrs. Garcia for coordinating that at various staff meetings. Our math team visited Fresno State's curriculum resource rooms. This was a follow-up on, we attended a math curriculum fair because of the math adoption that's coming up. Lots of curriculums are switching over. So we're just going and starting to explore what's going to be a good fit for our on-site classes. And are there any other curriculums that we want to add to our offerings for parents as well? So we have our math teachers all included. We had representation from our SPED department as well. And we just spent some time collaborating over at Fresno State and looking through, trying to narrow it down and see what's going to be a good fit and what also works for us at our school. In preparation for National School Choice Week, we had a door decoration contest is happening amongst staff. And so you may have seen some beginnings of those in the hall on your way in, but definitely on all the teachers' doors, you'll start to see some cool things going up. And our theme for this year matches with our vision alignment work that we've been doing as well. And there's a couple other of those ones. Lots of fun and lots of various themes happening. We also led a staff professional development workshop on how to access data through the California School Dashboard. So we did a bit of a scavenger hunt for teachers and staff to kind of help them dive in and see what data is out there, and then just some time to kind of support their exploration into areas that they may be more interested in. As I think both Mr. Hagan and Mr. Sloas mentioned, we had our all staff professional development day. We had really positive feedback from that day. I think all of our sites like getting together, and especially seeing their counterparts at the other site. Our staff is actually much more competitive than I think most of us realized, and that showed in the games that were led that day. And we had tons of fun, lots of laughing, and lots of good quality conversation around what good teaching is and what gets us excited about learning. And then we had a great staff turnout at the Fresno public hearing for number 1 for material revision. So showed up in our swag with our Bold Explorer shirts on there. Really appreciate all the staff that came out for that. All right, later.
The all staff day was amazing, and I'm quoting teachers said this is the best professional development ever. It was a hit. Okay, in our TK through 12th grade news and endeavor, we had our fall production, theater arts production on December 3rd, and our middle school and high school classes did a variety show, performance on Aesop Day, sorry, and our guitar students were able to showcase also their musicals. And it was well attended. I think our productions are just only increasing in quality, and student participation and staff and parent participation. And this year we had parents step up and do a fundraiser on their own to support our program. And speaking of fundraising, we have our cinnamon rolls sales ended, and we made $443 for our seniors attending grad night. We have a couple of upcoming fundraisers: the Panda Express online ordering and Answer Up, which is a lunch food that we can pre-order. In elementary, we have here our middle school students in their science lab doing owls sections and working together. And I'm glad they're wearing gloves and they're trying to, this is like the outcome of their dissection. So very interesting and neat to see them doing hands-on learning experience. And I think our professional development actually inspired more of that for our teachers for this year. So it's amazing to start seeing that kind of show through our instruction already. We have our spelling bee we just had last week. Some of our volunteers with our theme shirts and some of our winners here. We have a middle school 7th, 8th level, and then the 4th through 6th grade. We have the winning word quiver and promise. We also have Kids Gift Workshop, which is a little bit of a challenge this school year since our calendar is a little bit shifted, but we made it happen. We had great participation. We had staff dress up, students create a couple of crafts, and I was able to create a snowman with all the accessories with a student, and he reminded me to do my own thing, that he's doing his own thing, not to copy each other on our accessories, which is really fun. Here's a few more pictures. Okay. We do have our high school sports. We have rock climbing going on right now. It's a full semester season. Their first competition is January 26th at Middlemark. And these are some pictures of their practice. And volleyball is starting up. They have had tryouts, those ended. And we have our first competition or game January 20th at Duncan. A few more high school pictures. The mental health committee, who meets quarterly to find initiatives to help students connect and make positive relationships with staff and students, have created different monthly initiatives. This is the bingo and hot chocolate bar, which was well attended. And we have a variety of staff who volunteer to be part of that. And so they have a rotating group of staff that they see at every monthly initiative. This is the art appreciation. So students were given a chance to write positive messages, adults or people in their life to deliver this during our Thanksgiving season. And then, as promised, we made it to the Christmas tree lane. We had our art display there. It was beautiful. And I actually did drive all the way to see it and take pictures. Our art students are definitely very proud of that.
Yeah.
On the right, you see the end of semester playing 3D art that they were doing.
Can you explain the meaning in the project?
So because we've been doing mission alignment with our Endeavor staff, Mrs. Penner, the art teacher, said that she was going to give the challenge of how to incorporate the mission theme that we're doing this year into their art of this project. And so the middle panel, you see a space shuttle to indicate Endeavor. And then on one side, we have Mountain Homeschool with the mountains represented. On the left, we have, left side, yes. Then we have Glacier on the right. And on the top, we have the Endeavor school name with a few symbols of peace on earth that have to be Christmas themed as well. So more like a stained glass window representing, even though it's for Endeavor, we wanted to give a nod to just the whole organization as the three schools and what we represent. Yeah.
You took a picture.
Yes, I love that.
Oh, that's great.
Yes. It was great to see. And we've been invited to come back. And so we'll have our next panel will have our name bigger. We can see it, and so excited to have that ongoing project. We have two CT pathways. This is highlighting the CT education pathway, where the students that participate are generally interested in a career in the education field. So one of their projects was to create a game for 6 to 11-year-old students and teach them about seriation and classification. So these are some of their projects, and they presented and they took turns playing their games, and they did I think Miss Reed attended that class and played the games.
I did.
And here's a picture of our high school Spanish classes. They were celebrating Hispanic culture through engaging activities such as making Mexican hot chocolate and eating dulce. And they were playing, they played Loteria, which is a traditional Spanish bingo game. So, and I'm learning Spanish, but also culture.
And we both attended that one.
We both attended that one. Here are a few highlights of our high school photography class. They're creating a digital book, and so to highlight all of their pieces, but these are just some highlights of their work. And we wanted to give a thank you shout out to Holly Ship. She visited our personal finance class. She was a guest speaker and was able to highlight, give insights to students about interviewing, hiring practices. Students were very engaged, wanted to know more about how to get a job. And from her experience, what is an interview committee looking for, or somebody who's hiring management. And she did an amazing job. Students definitely love having guest speakers, but I just want to say thank you. We have for upcoming events, the big one is coming up, National School Choice Week, and we've been doing this for a few years now to highlight just that we're a school of choice and that we're proud of that. And so we have a variety of things going on. We have Spirit Week. During that week, we also have a poster contest for students, Why I Love My School, and parents also can participate. And a variety of activities for teachers. We also have that door decorating contest. So that's you saw some of those pictures earlier in this week's presentation. And next week we have a trip to Sacramento for fourth graders. And we have, like I mentioned, rock climbing competition coming up. And yeah, just we have our annual ski trip coming up in February as well.
Forgot to mention. Too.
And I wanted to end, I'm going to start trying to feature what flex-based learning looks and practice. And so this is a picture that was sent to me by Mrs. Adams. This is the Douglas family. And here we see a 4th, a 5th, and an 8th grade student in his family home. And of course, family pet learning social studies. And so I just thought it was so cute how even the family pet is engaged in. And yeah, I'm just going to try to feature what flex-based learning looks like. I know we know what on-site classes look like and the traditional setting and field trips, but I think we're all grateful to see what our kids doing outside of a school setting.
Idea.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Presentation. It's always good to see what you kids are up to, you guys are up to. Our next scheduled board meeting is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, and that's also at 8:30. So at this point, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Lisa Paskowski, a motion to adjourn.
Have a second.
Jason Smith, I'll second.
Okay, you're adjourned. It's 5:30 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, Ian.
Everybody is in.
So, yeah.